Good morning and welcome to day 66 of Geriatric 1944's Coronavirus Diaries. Day 66. And today's the day that this trace and test and everything else thing kicks in. And I'm very confused by it. Basically, they're going to try and contact everyone who tests positive for coronavirus, no matter how mild they may have it, even if they got no symptoms at all, and find out who they've been in touch with, call those people up and tell them they must self-isolate for 14 days. Now, I'm very confused about this. Surely, doesn't this mean that doctors and nurses and people who work in hospitals are going to be called up daily and told they must self-isolate for 14 days? And surely within a few weeks, hospitals, care homes, hospices will be devoid of staff. People who've been in contact with somebody who is tested positive and now has to self-isolate. I really can't work it out. Have the government thought this through? Anyway, also we see in America they've topped the 100,000 cases of COVID-19. Panic, hysteria. People are saying it's similar to the Vietnam War. This is such rubbish. It's the media again exaggerating and inflating. Look, apparently 700,000 people a year die in America from heart attacks and strokes and things. Apparently 600,000 people a year die in America from cancer. Several 100,000 people a year die from pneumonia, car accidents, accidents in the home, kidney failure, all these various different things. I believe there's something like 60 or 70,000 people a year in America die having committed suicide. But no, the media are only interested in coronavirus, and now they're busy interviewing sobbing relatives of people who say, oh, my dad was only 90, he should have lived for several more years. And I go, I really do think humanity has completely lost the plot due to the media needing a good story. Anyway, we'll move on from there and on to music again. And I was interested the other day, punk. Well, I started punk. I didn't really start punk, but I did start a sort of punk attitude. In the early 70s, I recorded various tracks, some of which were really quite punky. And funnily enough, in the late 70s, I got a phone call from a friend of mine in America, still a dear friend, Seymour Stein, who is behind a lot of those early bands like the Ramones and so on. Sire Records he had, went on to discover Madonna amongst others. But during that era, he called me up and said, Jonathan, do you have a contact number? Because I'd like to sign up the Sex Pistols. And I said, well, it's nothing to do with me. And Seymour said, but excuse me, surely they're so you. I went, no, I promise you they're not. And gave him Malcolm McLaren's contact number. Well, a few years later, Malcolm admitted to me that he'd been inspired by my record label, UK Records, in the 70s, to come up with the idea and start the Sex Pistols and the whole punk thing there, of which there were many others, The Clash and so on and so forth. But it really was a whole punk movement. Well, I've got to say, even though a lot of my tracks are middle of the road and happy and ballads, I've always been into lots of music, and it was very early 70s. I recorded an album that was really quite rebellious and anarchic. So I'd like to sign off today by giving you a play of a track you may not have heard of mine, but I think it was really quite punky about 7 or 8 years before punk actually happened. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan King, known as Geriatric 1944, gives you Super Shit. See you tomorrow.
I'm a hell of a man to deal with. I'm butch and I'm tight and I'm strong. I don't like too many people, and I'm happy just getting along. Cause I think all niggas are dirty, and I hate old junkies and hairies, and I can't stand rednecks or fuss or whores, and I get my cakes picking on berries. That's why they call me Super Shit. That's why they call me Super Shit. They're right. They're right. They're right. And I don't care. about me. When I see something you all call beautiful, I get off on a strong urge to pee. I have puked in the face of humanity. I have shat in the mirror of life. If I catch something unspoiled and lovely, I will chop it to death with my knife. That's why they call me super shit. That's why they call me super shit. And they're right. They're right. They're right. I don't care. There's a little bit of me in everyone. There's a ripple that don't give a damn. There's an ounce and a quarter of hatred in the ounce that makes up every man. Only hypocrites say they're unselfish. Only lunatics think they are sane. But I'm happy to sneer at the lot of you and go vomiting on just